In the summer of 2021, I traveled to Lisbon, in Portugal, shortly after the city had reopened most of its attractions. In this video, I want to show you what traveling in Portugal is like now and share my top 25 things to do in Lisbon. Hello and welcome to Lisbon, Portugal. We are here in the Praça do Comércio. This is the most important square of all of Lisbon and it tells you a lot about the history of the city and the country. The Praça do Comércio is situated on the former site of the Ribeira Palace, which was the official residence of the kings of Portugal from 1502 until the 1st of November 1755. On that day, a terrible earthquake followed by a giant firestorm and a tsunami destroyed 2/3 of the city of Lisbon and killed more than 30,000 people. It was one of the worst natural disasters in the history of Europe. The man who was responsible for the effective recovery of Lisbon from this terrible disaster was the Marquis de Pombal, and many still consider him the greatest national Portuguese hero of the past. And I guess a lot of you know the greatest Portuguese national hero of the present.
Eu sou Cristiano Ronaldo. Bem-vindos ao Portugal.
The entrance to the square is marked by the Arco da Rua Augusta, a triumphal arch with statues of the Marquês de Pombal and the famous Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama. A big equestrian statue in the center of the square commemorates King José I, who oversaw the reconstruction of Lisbon after the earthquake. Here you can see the most iconic mode of transportation in Lisbon. This is the Tram 28. It goes all around some of the most beautiful parts of Lisbon, and I can't wait to take it. The cute and colorful Tram 28 is famous for breathtaking views and absurdly steep climbs. The best stops to board it are either at the beginning of its route at Martim Moniz or at the end at Campo de Ourique. So I got off the tram at Largo das Portas and it's beautiful. The terrace here is just gorgeous and the tram ride was really fun. After a short hike uphill, I arrived at the Castelo de São Jorge. And as you can easily tell by the Crusader statue there behind me, this castle has a long history of battles won and battles lost. And most notably, this castle saw the Battle of Lisbon in 1147 when Lisbon was taken back by the Christian Crusaders from the Muslim Moors. In later centuries, the castle served as a royal palace, a military barracks, home of the Torre do Tombo National Archive, and now as a national monument and museum. It is surrounded by a peaceful and inviting park and offers stunning views of the city of Lisbon. I descended through the narrow streets of the Alfama district to get to a traditional Portuguese restaurant. And here we have now one of the most traditional dishes from Portugal. These are grilled sardines. So as a seafaring nation, Portugal has a lot of experience cooking fish, and this is one of the most popular and most iconic dishes here. This is the Museu do Fado. Fado is kind of Portugal's blues music, so those are very melancholic songs about unfortunate love, sailors lost at sea, and this museum here tells you all about the history of this traditional Portuguese style of song. The origins of Fado music can be traced back to the Lisbon of the 1820s, when it was mostly performed by members of the urban working class. The Museu do Fado provides a good introduction to this uniquely Portuguese style of music and allows you to listen to recordings by some of the most renowned Fado artists of all time. now I'm here at the Largo das Portas do Sol. It's a beautiful place to have a drink in the afternoon here at this viewing platform. I got a caipirinha cocktail, so cheers. What a view. I mean, check it out. I walked back to my Airbnb to get changed and took a taxi to the Santo Amaro dock to go on a special Portuguese boat adventure. And this is where the boat leaves. And here we are on the boat, like right in front. I'm feeling like I'm in Titanic. It's so beautiful with the sails and the wind in my hair. It's gorgeous. Highly recommend this experience. During the boat trip, we saw several of the most iconic landmarks of Lisbon, including the bridge Ponte 25 de Abril, the Cristo Rei statue, the Padrão dos Descobrimentos monument, and the Torre de Belém watchtower. I will include a link to the boat tour and all the other things that I mentioned in this video in the description below. After the boat tour, I had dinner at one of the restaurants at the dock before heading back to my Airbnb. Hello and good morning. Today we're gonna start our day off at the Pastéis de Belém. These are legendary little custard cakes and I can't wait to try this. The Pastéis de Belém, or Pastéis de Nata, were invented by the monks of the Mosteiro dos Jerónimos in Lisbon. When the monastery had to close in 1834, the monks sold their top-secret recipe to the owners of a nearby sugar factory, whose descendants still make them today. The pastéis are best enjoyed fresh out of the oven with a bit of cinnamon and powdered sugar sprinkled on top. Let's see what they taste like. Oh, it's flaky. It's really nice. I think I'll just bite it. Wow. It's really good. Especially the kind of vanilla interior. It's delicious with the flakiness. Here we are at the Padrão dos Descobrimentos. In English, you would translate this to Monument to the Discoveries, and this is a monument celebrating the discoveries that Portuguese explorers made. At the front of the monument is Prince Henry the Navigator, who initiated the exploration of other continents during the 15th century. Close to him are Vasco da Gama, who first discovered the sea route to India, and Ferdinand Magellan, whose ship successfully circumnavigated the globe. The foundation of colonies in Africa, Brazil, and India allowed Portugal to build a global trading empire and made it one of the richest European countries of the 15th and 16th centuries. Next, I walked over to one of Lisbon's most important sites. And here we are at the Mosteiro dos Jerónimos. This monastery was founded to celebrate the discovery of the sea route to India by Vasco da Gama, which was a foundation for Portugal's rich and glorious Golden Age. Founded in 1501 by King Manuel I and financed by proceeds from the spice trade, the Mosteiro dos Jerónimos is one of the most important monuments of Portugal's Age of Discovery. It is most famous for its beautiful cloister and the church Santa Maria de Belém, which housed the tombs of King Manuel and Vasco da Gama. The monastery's ornate architectural style is called Manueline and combines Christian symbols with nautical and nature-inspired decorations. And this is the Torre de Belém from 1519. It's a powerful symbol of the Portuguese age of discoveries. This watchtower here was the last thing that Portuguese ships saw when they headed out towards their journeys of discovery towards the Atlantic, and it was the first thing that they saw when they returned home. Just like the Mosteiro dos Jerónimos, the Torre de Belém is a great example of Manueline architecture and displays many of its characteristic symbols. The most striking one is the Cross of the Military Order of Christ, formerly Knights Templar, which helped fund many of the early voyages of discovery. Another important element is the armillary sphere, an astronomical instrument representing the universe, which was a personal emblem of Manuel I and is still present in the Portuguese flag today. I took a taxi back to my Airbnb, got changed, and headed out again.
This city, there's so many hills and it's pretty steep. It's a perfect city if you're a mountain goat or if you want to save money on your gym membership.
I met up with my friend and fellow YouTuber Dean to have dinner and to listen to some traditional Fado music at the Club de Fado restaurant. So the dinner arrived and I got the fried cod, which is a traditional dish from Lisbon. What did you get, Dean?
This is also cod, but a different configuration to your one.
There can never be enough cod in Lisbon.
Can never be enough cod. Bacalhau time.
The next morning, I met up with Dean again to go on a day trip. After a quick breakfast at the Café Saudade, we took a taxi up the hill to get to the famous Palácio Nacional da Pena. The Palácio Nacional da Pena is a colorful confection of onion domes, Moorish-inspired keyhole gates, Manueline decorations, and crenellated towers. It was commissioned in 1840 by Ferdinand II, an artistic German prince who became King of Portugal after marrying Queen Maria II. This feels really a bit like walking around in a mystical forest of a fairy tale or something up here in the mist with the vegetation there. It's really, really cool. The Castelo dos Mouros was built during the occupation of Portugal by the Muslim Moors in the 8th and 9th centuries. After being taken by Christian Reconquista forces in 1147, the fortification's military importance slowly diminished, and it was abandoned completely in the 16th century. The castle walls are often enshrouded in mist, but on a clear day, they offer spectacular views over Sintra and all the way to the Atlantic. We took a taxi back down the hill and stopped at a traditional Portuguese restaurant for lunch. And I got some traditional sausages from the northeast of Portugal here, and also some egg fries and rice, so lots of carbs. I think it's gonna be great to recharge after all this walking. After saying goodbye to Dean, who had to go back to Lisbon, I called an Uber to get to Sintra's most striking landmark. And this is the National Palace of Sintra. It's the best preserved medieval royal residence in all of Portugal. This palace was inhabited constantly from the 15th until the 19th century and is extremely famous for its beautiful interior. Highlights include the Swan Room from the 15th century and the Magpie Room. Legend has it, King João I got caught by his queen kissing one of her ladies in waiting. He cheekily claimed the kisses were innocent and por bem, for the good, and ordered the room to be decorated with 136 magpies, one for every woman at court. Another standout is the Sala dos Brasões, which features the coats of arms of Portugal's most important noble families. Some other rooms that I saw included the Golden Chamber, the precious Royal Chapel, and the big kitchen that sits under the palace's famous twin chimneys. Alright, that was a pretty awesome visit. The palace is so beautiful and well preserved. And now we're gonna walk over to the Quinta da Regaleira, which is one of the main draw cards of Sintra. The Quinta da Regaleira was created by the Brazilian millionaire Antonio Carvalho Monteiro and the Italian architect Luigi Manini in 1910. It is a surreal wonderland filled with new Manueline buildings, fountains, grottos, and underground caverns. Monteiro was fascinated by the Knights Templar and the Freemasons, and the park is filled with their symbolism. The main attraction is the mystical initiation well, which was likely inspired by initiation rites of the Knights Templar. I left the park, and then it was already time for dinner. So I'm now at the Tasca Antiga, which has Petiscos. Those are the Portuguese variety of tapas, and I'm super excited to try them. I think it's gonna be delicious. I ordered 4 of the best Petiscos of the restaurant. Slightly melted acetone cheese with crispy slices of bread, candied pork cheeks, grilled octopus salad, and mushrooms with smoked ham and goat cheese. I think my personal favorite now that I tried all of these is the grilled octopus. That is amazing. If you like seafood, this is probably the right tapas for you. For dessert, I ordered some sweet port wine. I think this port wine is the favorite thing I've tried so far in Portugal. I absolutely love this. So good. Alright, that was a pretty good meal, and now I'm gonna head back towards the train station to go back to Lisbon. Good morning. So today we'll start the day off with a food tour of Lisbon. We're here in a traditional residential neighborhood of the city, and we're gonna go on a tour with Culinary Backstreets, which is a company dedicated to providing authentic neighborhood tours of Lisbon. After a quick breakfast at the Jardim da Estrela Park, my tour guide Celia and I went to a nearby market to have lunch.
We're here in the Mercado de Campo de Rica, and we're going to taste some frango churrasco with a wonderful piri sauce.
I'm very excited to try this because I really love spicy food, and I think this is quite spicy, right? The piri.
It's a little bit hot, and I think you'll love it.
Perfect, I'm really looking forward to this. After a short walk, we arrived at the Imperial de Campo de Ourique restaurant, where Celia showed me the best way to eat Portugal's favorite dish.
You remove the skin, and now I'm ready to eat. One of my favorite dishes is the best part. When we finish with the sardines, we eat the bread.
So you eat the bread afterwards?
Afterwards,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Oh man, can't wait. So we're gonna try some samosas, which are from India and kind of show the international influence that is in Portuguese cuisine. And of course we're gonna add some spicy piri on top. I think it's gonna be delicious. And we're gonna also have the Sagres beer from Portugal. So cheers!
The last stop of the tour was the Pastelaria Aloma, where I tried some delicious pastéis de nata and other Portuguese cakes and pastries.
This is the Sé de Lisboa, the city's oldest church. It's from the 12th century and it's built like a fortress. And this build has helped it survive several earthquakes. It has been restored and renovated several times and is still standing strong as one of the main symbols of the city of Lisbon.
The construction of the Sé de Lisboa was begun in 1147 on the site of a former mosque after Christian armies led by King Afonso I recaptured the city from the Moors. The facade of the cathedral and its splendid rose window were built in the Romanesque style, but in later centuries, Gothic-style chapels, statues, tombs, and an elaborate Baroque nativity scene were added to the interior. I took the iconic Tram 28 again to get to my next destination. The Convento do Carmo is the most striking trace of the terrible 1755 earthquake still visible today. The Gothic nave of the convent's church collapsed on worshippers during Mass, and only the pointed arches between the pillars were left standing. Nowadays, the church is a partly open-air archaeological museum showcasing architectural relics from Portugal, as well as Aztec statues, Inca pottery, mummies from Egypt and Peru, azulejos, and Gothic sarcophagi. And then, it was time for a little break. So now we're here at the cafe Brasileira do Chiado, which is a very famous literary cafe here in Lisbon. It's from the 19th century and particularly beautiful on the inside. And it was one of the favorite hangouts of Pessoa, who is one of the most important Portuguese writers. And to honor him, they have like a milk rice dish with his portrait on it. And we also have a traditional drink here. This is the Giginha, which is a cherry liquor that is really sweet and delicious. So, cheers! So I took the metro to get here to the Parque Eduardo VII. It's actually named in honor of a British king who visited the city in the beginning of the 20th century. And a fun fact is that this park actually has the biggest Portuguese flag in the world. The park offers sweeping views over the busy Praça Marquês de Pombal to the Tejo River. An interesting monument in front of the Portuguese flag commemorates the so-called Carnation Revolution, which started on the 25th of April 1974 and helped Portugal transition peacefully from authoritarianism to democracy. Hello and welcome to the future, or at least to something that looks very much like the future. We're gonna see a completely different side of Lisbon today. We are at the Parque das Nações. This whole area was developed for the 1998 World Exhibition in Lisbon and has lots of modern, beautiful architecture and a special cable car that we're gonna ride right now. Here we are, flying about 20 meters above ground in the teleférico, in these cable cars, and we're heading towards the Oceanario, which is the second largest aquarium in all of Europe. The cable cars afford amazing views of the Parque das Nações skyline, the Tejo River, and the Ponte Vasco da Gama, which is Europe's longest bridge. And here we are at the Oceanario de Lisboa with more than 8,000 sea creatures that live here and splash around in more than 7 million liters of seawater. The main attraction of the Oceanario is its massive central tank with a rare sunfish, zebra sharks, neonfish, and manta rays. Around the central tank, 4 exhibitions feature marine life from the Atlantic, Antarctic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, including jellyfish, clownfish, sea dragons, and penguins. The 2 cutest inhabitants of the aquarium, however, are the sea otters, Mare and Mikash, who live in the Pacific section. And for dinner, we're gonna mix it up a bit today because close to the Oceanario, there is one of the best pizza places in all of Lisbon. It's called 00, and yeah, I heard it's a really good place for inventive pizza creation, so let's try it out. And I ordered one of the most inventive pizzas that they had to offer here. This one is called tartufi porcini, so that means it has tartufo mushroom cream, it has special cheese, and it also has sliced mushrooms. And I can't wait to try this, it smells so delicious already. I hope you enjoyed my video about the best things to do in Lisbon. If you also want to know about the best places to eat in the city, make sure to check out my epic foods tour video where I show you all the best restaurants and food options in Lisbon. If you have any other recommendations for what to do in the city, please make sure to leave them in the comments below. I'm Lex Nomad, and I will talk to you again soon.